Greetings from HOD Pod, an unofficial podcast and YouTube series on HBO's House of the Dragon. I am your host, the Dark Knight of Westeros, Sir Benjamin of David, and with me as always is my Hand of the King, Sir Stephen of House Davinci. Say hello, Stephen.
Hi.
We are recording live, as always, from Davinci's Dreamworks 2 comic shop here in sunny Jensen Beach, Florida. Sunny Jensen Beach, Florida. We got comics, we got games, we got a pretty limited dragon count / pit today. But we press on. We have Song of Ice and Fire games here, Dark Knights of Steel, which for this season, there's actually a Halloween anthology story in that newest Dark Knights of Steel book, Tales from the Three Kingdoms. So check that out for the Halloween season. Please subscribe to both audio and here on the channel. Audio, we're on Spotify, and then here we are, youtube.com/above and Batman Beyond. IG, Instagram, at House of the Dragon Pod. Please follow us there. Today we're going to recap and review Episode 9 of House of the Dragon. I try to sound enthusiastic and game show hosty because I'm not enthusiastic about this episode. Let's try to keep it upbeat. The Green Council is the name of the episode. News from the Red Keep, as always. We start off with that. Non-spoiler initial thoughts. 'Tis Westeros. We have a wall, a non-spoiler / spoiler wall. Then we do a recap review proper, which includes which is a breakdown of the episode. There's beat by beat, and then throughout that there's breaks. Dragon counts, for example, where we count dragons, which, once again, not too many this episode. 1 is the spoiler. Lore breaks, where Stephen here has read the books and why he's such a good Hand of the King. The book upon which House of the Dragon is based, which is Fire and Blood. He's also read A Song of Ice and Fire, upon which Game of Thrones is based. This week we have an IG comment that we keep promising to reveal, but kept thinking the reveal would come in previous episodes, and the episodes, once again, have been pretty disappointing, at least from our point of view, past couple, including this one. But finally, at least, in this one, it is being paid off exactly what the person who commented was. So we're going to talk about that at the end of the episode. So, as always, let us start with news from the Red Keep. Stephen, take it away.
Well, George R. R. Martin was praising Paddy Constantine's version of Viserys as being better than his Viserys, which I agree. Viserys in the book is basically an overweight, kind of jolly guy that doesn't really do too much, while in the show, I thought he was very good, actually. He was definitely one of the better actors in the show. He'll be sorely missed, especially in this episode.
Why are you saying you also didn't like this episode?
It was an interesting choice for some deviations from the book, shall we say. And then to do what they did with the dragon, I'm like, okay, I guess. You will see in the... George R. R. Martin also confirmed that Alicent's fourth child... they didn't fully forget about him. He is confirmed to be in Old Town. We'll see him in season 2. Because you do see a sigil marking in the opening when the bloodlines flow from Alicent. You'll see 3 that go downward, and then the one that's kind of off by itself. That's the 4th kid. I forget his name, but he's not important right now. So season 2.
Wait, are you implying that the names in House of the Dragon are confusing?
I mean, they all have the same names. We have 2 Aegons, technically.
3, if you can.
Well, yeah, that's probably why Alicent got so confused. Aegon must be on the throne. Which one? That's so vague. The original one.
Aegon's dream.
The future Aegon. Aegon the 4th and a half. Jon Snow. Remember, his name is Aegon.
Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, at least we have that show coming. That's all I keep thinking about now. Unfortunately,
with another Aegon
while we're on the
Targaryen.
News, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah with another.
The return
Can't escape Aegons.
The return of Aegon Targaryen. He's got to get on that throne, or else the prophecy will come true. The endless winter will.
So if House of the Dragon's the prequel, then Game of Thrones is the part 2. That'll be the part 3 is the Jon Snow sequel. Then we're going to get an epilogue story called Escape from Aegon, like Escape from New York. Yeah. And they'll just camp it out completely like John Carpenter 80s. But full production HBO level of Westeros. I could get down with that.
He's going to have the reluctant team up with Drogon. Like, come on, bro.
Yes.
We have to work together. Fist bump the dragon and then go get it done.
He's like, I didn't know how to ride a dragon, but I do now.
I do now. I learned. Sorry, Ghost. I need a bigger good boy.
Yeah. You think it'll be Ghost and him riding the dragon at one point?
Oh, he just builds a little seat for the dog? Yeah. A boy and his dog and his dragon.
I mean, now you can bring your dogs anywhere. Restaurants, dragons.
He's a CNI dog to go with the CNI dragon.
His emotional support animal.
Yeah, it's the dragon's emotional support animal. Now he's completely tainted by pointy chairs.
I could watch an animated series, The Adventures of Drogon and Ghost.
Yeah?
Be on the wall.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'd rather that than this episode. Which brings us to non-spoilers of... Or was there anything else from the news from the Right Keep, I should say?
That's all I got for news.
All right.
I try not to pay too much attention to what's going on outside of that. You'll get spoilers. And
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll notice like if you follow us on Instagram, I really do my best to not, unless it's something that's like officially HBO, not just a spoiler thing, but if it's like, oh, the trailer is up, I'll like put the thumbnail of the trailer, but it won't be anything from the trailer. It won't be, or maybe one shot, but it's not going to be like a spoiler is the point. I just try not to do that, even for myself, mostly for myself.
I mean, for the most part, we're pretty fresh from like watching the episode. I know we're a little late this week, but
yeah,
we still try to keep it fresh. And a lot of the other channels are like super heavily scripted, so they already have everything ready to go for this is everything from this book and stuff. Like this is what I remember that's important or not.
Yeah,
or mildly important. Which there are a few things for today.
No, we're still pretty thorough. I listened to a few episodes or a few podcasts. We're pretty good. We're good, Steven.
Yeah. So non-spoiler.
So let's do it. Yeah, episode 9 non-spoilers. Green Council. Steven.
It took us 9 episodes to get to where the series should have started. I go back and watch any of our stuff. I was like, I'm ready for this because this will be super fun because we get into like cool Dragony War and all that fun stuff. I didn't think it would take to episode 9. I know.
I kept thinking, maybe episode 2 we would be doing this kind of thing.
Especially with the time skips. I was like, okay, I understand the time skips. They want the slow burn of the seeds being planted and everyone's political moves, because if not, you'd have to really like do this for a long period of time. But considering that they started it in the past with the first succession problem and how they resolved it, we could have went into, okay, that's how they resolved that succession problem. How are you going to resolve this one, buddy? Oh no, dragons fighting now. Yeah, well, maybe we'll get some dragons fighting next episode, I think, from the preview. It should be the battle over the Stormlands.
So locate the Stormlands for us in Westeros?
The Stormlands are to the north of King's Landing.
Okay.
It's basically perpetually raining and it sucks there. That's
All
where
right.
the Baratheons are.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
There's some broody fuckers, yeah.
Yeah. The reason why that's an important setting is that was the last place Rhaenyra was during her travels to find a suitor.
Okay.
One where the little kid stabbed the bigger boy and was like, yeah, I could protect you, my lady. And the series would be over if you married me. Haha. But she didn't pick anyone there or finish her tour, and they sided specifically, as we know from like the first episode, they sided with Rhaenys because their main knight wanted her favor. So they're not quite sure, the Green Council is not quite sure where the Baratheons stand, whether they'll side with them or with Rhaenyra. So you got to send somebody over there to find out. Except both people got to send somebody over there. And that's where we're going to get in some spice. But yeah, for this episode, we're...
Spice we should have gotten this episode.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
It's the Green Council, so it's the Greens, which we barely got actual reference to what that means, but it's supposed to be Alicent's side because she wears the greens during the first conflict. And yeah, so apparently they've been...
Are you saying there's not enough conflict in this show?
No, and there's not enough political intrigue either to make it built up.
There's really not.
It's like,
for all the talking that it did even in this episode,
yeah.
I'm like, Jesus, this could have been... There were some good scenes of that, but I'm like, move, bro.
Yeah, now they needed to make artificial conflict, so they needed their own side to be conflicted with one another. Like, we had a whole, like, national treasure moment in this, where we gotta find the heir, and we gotta send our own teams out to find them. Aren't we after the same thing? It's like, yeah, but whoever gets them is gonna tell him what to do. Not if he's the king. He's gonna do what the fuck he wants. That's the point. You dumb fucks.
I know the whole stakes, supposedly, of especially when it plays out between when Aemon and Krista Cole find Aegon, and then it's just like, oh, now we're gonna hold him down. And he's still going to go ahead and be coronated. I'm like, what? There's just no payoff to any kind of...
Because Otto thinks if he gets him first, he'll be able to easily convince him to do the
Yeah,
bad.
I saw some of that. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because like we've seen from Game
There's
of
just
Thrones...
no like there's no subversion to anything. There's no I don't know.
No. And like in Game of Thrones proper, there's no telling little snobby kings what to do. You could send them to bed, I guess.
Yeah, like I thought there would be some kind of weird twist to that, and nothing happened.
Your big twist that you got is that the two twin brothers, Eric and Arik, one of them is completely disenfranchised from Aegon through his exploits that he does. And so he's kind of had enough. He even backs off from the sword fighting. He's like, nah, I'm not going to be part of this crap. It's like, and then that pays off at the end to sequester people away that need to get away from everything that's going on. Especially since if you don't side with them, you side with no one. You side with the noose. That's what you side with, as we saw.
Hanging right in the Red Keep. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, except the others, I guess, just got imprisoned. Like, it's so weird. Like, if you don't submit, it's like, I won't take the knee. And it's like, okay, well, why didn't that guy get hung? The dude who tried to leave got hung, so...
Yeah, I was thinking that lady, I thought it would have been interesting in Very Thrones to be like, just like the episode right before, when out of nowhere, Vaemon gets his head chopped off. I really thought that lady in that throne room would just, dink, there goes the head. You know, like scare the rest of the sheep or whatever you call it, sacrificial lamb. Yeah.
See, I thought for sure she would be the only one that doesn't. See, she's from House Fell. They're under the Baratheons.
Okay.
So if they kill her, there is no, we're going to go up and find out if the Baratheons will side with us. Yeah, we just killed one of their lords.
That would be like war.
Yeah, it's like, you dumb fucks. And so...
I don't know. I wanted to see at least some kind of more brutal, but I guess we did end up seeing that with him hanging. That was him, right? Who got... was that the deserter guy?
That was the guy who's always been on Rhaenyra's side. He's the one that greeted her when she came to Green's... he's always the one that offered her his assistance to her when she was having to walk through the castle after giving birth.
Okay. I guess we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves and in details here.
Yeah, that's more detailed stuff.
Yeah, so we'll get to all that, detail-wise. But yeah, any other... or just any other non-spoilers for the Green Council?
Non-spoilers. Otto's a turd. He wants to win, so he enacts his plan that he had been doing on the side the whole time. Woo-wee. Now we can have the Dance of the Dragons.
Which, again, should have been, I mean, picking up on that, it's just, mine are, this all easily could have been like episode 2, episode 1. It should have just started with them at this age, if they're going to do it this way, you know? But it was just events that felt very much like, oh, this would have been good episode 1, episode 2 material.
Yeah, I guess the negative thing is we wouldn't have gotten the Viserys, the cool Viserys stuff.
Yeah, I could have taken some of that, but I still feel like the best of Viserys, we keep talking about how much air can be taken out of each of these episodes. You know, you could have wrapped up Viserys stuff in like 3 eps.
Well, especially if you follow the books. He's rather boring in the books.
Yeah. But, you know, I think I also don't want to retread things I said last episode, which are that this show is just not close to Thrones. I was hoping that 9 and 10, this episode and the next would, and maybe 10 will, but it's too much at this point quantity-wise, episodically, of like, there's too many that are boring. Again, a lot of air can be taken out of it. Shit that should have started in the beginning is starting now. It's just not close to Thrones. Its production is great. It continues to be that way. Camera work is still pretty good, and that, again, makes me, I think I said this last episode, makes it even a little more disappointing because there's so much there, so much potential. And I think I've said throughout that, it's dotted with the grand scheme, dotted with things that are really cool. But it's just not enough, and it's not cohesive enough for me to really, I don't know. It's kind of, like we said last episode, skippable. But I'll end my non-spoilers with this, once again, hoping the best for 10, hoping we finally see dragons fighting each other and a civil war. The show. I want to see the show. And that's about that.
Yeah.
Never ending story. Okay. So this is We Shall Climb the Wall, Stephen. All right. That is the spoiler wall. Now we walk through beat by beat of the episode. We open in the throne room. Looks like sunrise. Dark shots from all around the Red Keep, assuming the morning after Viserys dies.
Yep.
So the first time that an episode has begun literally in real time, right?
Yeah,
Interesting.
essentially.
Let alone, 6-10 year time jumps.
Yeah.
And you get all these, shots of different areas of, again, the Red Keep. The news of Viserys' death is getting around the castle. Alicent checks in with Otto, tells him of her, ridiculous, as Stephen aptly yawns timing-wise, of the of her ridiculous interpretation of the king's, quote, wishes for the succession. What did you think of all this?
Well, we talked about that from last time, where it kind of ends with a Three's Company type of just misunderstanding. And still, how can she still even come to that conclusion? Because there's a whole nother Aegon. He never said his son. He just says Aegon.
He said Aegon's dream.
Yeah, and I'm like, there's another Aegon. There's two of them right now. It's like, because Rhaenyra has an Aegon.
Yeah.
So I'm like, where, Alicent, you dumb?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the plan is we gotta make sure not anyone knows, and we've got to find our heir because we got to get him ready. And Otto's trying to argue with her about we've got to kill Rhaenyra. It's like, whoa, Viserys did not want his daughter to be killed.
Now, did he bring this up prior to the King's Council cue ball meeting, or did that come out during that meeting?
Kinda, yeah. It's at that meeting.
Okay,
they bring it up.
So yeah, now we're at the King's Council cue ball. Yeah. What's his name? Lannister. I'm assuming was late, and he gets his cue ball rolled over to him. That was kind of a cool shot, I guess. Whatever.
His is all gold because he's a Lannister.
So yeah, the king is dead, revealed to the council.
Yeah.
And yeah, Otto then reveals to Alicent's talk with Viserys about succession. Yeah, so take it over, Stephen.
Yeah, well, we learn members of the council have been plotting this contingency with detail. Like, he's immediately like, all right, now we shall continue with our plans. Yeah. And so the master of ships,
contingency 165 now in motion.
Order 66. Yes. Yeah, and so the master of ships, which is Jason Lannister, he's like, I've already separated all the gold. We've got it in these various spots. That way, you can't just come and take all of it in one spot. And the master of coin, Beesbury's like, oh, excuse me, how did you get my money? He's like, well, I had the master of ships that just put all the money on the boat and sailed it away.
And Lord Beesbury was once again the guy from last episode. Thank you for your exhausting account. Well, he's not an entertaining guy, not a good talker.
But he is by the book.
Yeah, and old school Westerosi.
Yeah, and he proves to be loyal to the rules and the kingdom standards. Because as Otto's going through his backstabby plan that everyone seems to be a part of except for Beesbury and Queen Alicent, I was like, you've been planning this? It's like, yeah, of course we have. No one's satisfied with a woman being in charge.
You do realize you're a woman.
So Beesbury fucking stands up and he's getting a little antsy, and he's just basically calls out and being, you guys are treason right now. You're talking about harming the air. And Sir Christian is going to come over and commit another fucking murder with no punishment. And so, sit down, and smashes his face onto his own little cue ball. And he just sits there and bleeds. It's like no big deal.
Just gets cue balled to death.
Yeah, Sir Harold, he draws steel on him and is like, you better fucking remove your cloak. He's like, you're removing your cloak right now. And
Oh, that's right. He tells him to remove the cloak.
yeah, and he doesn't. He gets up back in his face. I'm like, what the fuck?
And this time, don't bang the princess afterward.
I was like,
Hey.
Sir Christian, what the fuck? You're going to fight the Lord Commander too while you're at it? Yeah, I am. Fucking hot-tempered and ready to go. And so...
just smashed the master of coin through the temple.
Yeah, and they eventually, like, put their swords away.
Back to business.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I should take the body. It's like, no, these doors remain closed until our business has concluded. So
I just love the shot of the maester
bleeding out
immediately
more.
reaching over like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah. The maester's like, we got to take care of his body. He's like, no, it stays. So he's just bleeding. The pool is filling up more and more as they're still discussing their stuff. So basically they're like, we're going to kill Rhaenyra. And they're like, no. And then Otto tries to order Sir Harold to go and do it. It's like, we need some knights.
Sir Harold is the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, right?
So go and do that. And he just fucking takes his cloak off and throws it on the table. And he's like, you don't get to order me. Only the king can. And until there is one, I am not going to be a part of this. And so he fucking walks out. Now, Lord Break in the book, he dies. Who would have thought? You run your mouth when some other person dies.
Die for treason?
Die.
What?
Yeah. But apparently for this show, they want to keep him alive because we got to have parallels, like in Star Wars. So we're going to have him probably show up and be on Rhaenyra's side to serve a worthy ruler. You know, very Sir Barristan. And like I was just telling you, that's so weird because Sir Barristan gets killed in Game of Thrones, yet he's alive in the books still now. And a badass. And even the actor's like, no, don't kill my character. I've literally been practicing swordplay. Like, I want to be this character that I love in the books. Nah, you're dead now, bro. We don't need no old guy. Yeah, in this show, they're like, oh, old guy dead. Nah, we'll bring him back. We'll get it right this time by getting it wrong twice.
We're going to make up for that. 2 wrongs make a right.
Oh, I guess we are. So, yeah. That basically
Yeah, I mean, one of them should have died or gotten arrested, and neither. They're just like, back to business. Kristen can continue being the Queen's God, as well as this guy can just walk out of a meeting. Like, no, sorry.
Yeah.
I did like how Alicent says to the one guy, she's like, one more word and I will have you removed from this chamber and sent to the wall. I was just like, oh shit, wall reference. Have we gotten a wall reference yet in this show? I think this is the first.
No.
So I thought that was cool. Yeah, I mean, look, this scene would have been, aside again from the non-consequence to very crucial actions, been a great expository setup for subsequent action, but we got none. I mean, it's just like,
oh yeah,
where's the payoff for minutes of this shit going on, and then once again, the worst part is that the action that is there, what things that should be pivotal are based on just, I mean, even the whole crux of this civil war in this. And I guess while we're kind of lore breaking, was it this misinterpretation bullshit? What can we call it so we don't have to, so there's just a word for it so we can quickly refer to it?
It's not like this at all. So, and plus the book is different because the book is from third person perspectives.
Right.
It's everyone else given their account of the things that happened. So like Rhaenyra is kind of power hungry in the book, but then so is Alicent. Alicent's also older than
But there
her.
wasn't this grand misinterpretation of succession?
No, basically it comes down to Alicent wants her son on the throne and wants to have the power, and it shouldn't be Rhaenyra.
Can we just do a podcast on the book next time instead of season 2?
I mean,
I'm hoping
the book
season
is
2.
long. There's a lot in the book. This is only like a small,
Right.
very small little section of the book.
No, we will be back for season 2, guys. Don't worry. But
Yeah. Yeah. Should start with just dragon fighting, and we have dragon fighting the whole time because that's literally what happens. Like people get pissed, and they're like, "I levy dragon against you. I counter with also dragon." You're like, "Oh, I didn't see that coming.
Why would you not?
Dragons.
Yeah, that's your weapon.
So
cool.
the Otto has all the people that know about the king's death. Well, Laris goes and gets them and puts them all in cells. Which one of them was obviously a spy for the White Worm because she was lighting candles in the window to signal that the king had died. That's what the candles were for, because remember she had to be locked into the room.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so,
yeah, Rhaenys is locked in. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there are discussings like we have to get rid of several of Daemon's supporters in the City Watch because he made the City Watch, and they're very fiercely loyal to him. So like we got to replace these men. So they had a list. They already had a list of everything they needed to do to get ready, and they had all the.
Yo, Otto is such a sniveling fucking snake. I cannot wait till Daemon just lights his ass up. I don't know if it's going to happen. I just know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Alicent goes and that is her daughter Helena.
Yeah, Helena. Thank you.
Helena is
ahead of my notes.
married.
Alicent breaks the news to the daughter.
Yeah.
Question mark name.
Helena is the one who's married to Aegon. So the brother and sister are married, and they have they have 2 children, and so she's basically spoiling the whole series because everything she says, she's a dragon dreamer. So everything she says spoils everything. She's talking about the beast beneath the boards, which is surprisingly it's not. It is not the thing that happens at the end of the episode. While it is a coincidence that something burst out from underneath you and is a beast per se, but that's actually alluding to something much bigger that, I don't know, maybe we'll see in season 2. It could be a season 3 thing. I don't know how long they plan to stretch this stuff out. But that's like a big boy spoiler, so we won't talk about that.
Okay.
But just note that anything that chick says,
we don't spoil anything from the books
happen.
either. Even though Steven has read the books, we don't do that either.
Aemon walks in, so Sir Christian and Aemon go to find Aegon, because obviously he's not here. Otto's after him too, so Otto gets Sir Eric to go get his twin brother Arik to go find him, because that's Arik, the one with the A. They're the same dude. Arik, the one with the A, is the one who is his personal bodyguard, and he kind of lets him slip away because he just kind of doesn't care. He really does kind of hope the little shit gets murdered, because he's a monster. He's a fucking Joffrey type.
He's like a Joffrey level, at least insofar as liability. He's not Joffrey level in monster, but he's monstrous for sure.
Oh yeah. So he's like,
on some levels he is a monster. He's just not Joffrey level monster. Yeah.
He's like, take off the normal armor and cloaks. We need you to go in disguise. Bring him to me. So Otto's trying to get the heir for himself, and Alicent's trying to get the heir for himself. Essentially, it comes down to if Otto gets him, Otto's going to somehow convince this little shit to approve of killing Rhaenyra's family. And if Alicent gets him, she's going to convince him not to do that. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes.
There's also, there's so much of Otto in this of, he's scheming, but he's just not. I want to see him be more ruthless. I want to see him the way that, you introduce, what's his name? Tywin Lannister as he's skinning. Right? Isn't that the first time you see him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's skinning
as he's graphically skinning a stag or a deer, and then just the things that he witnesses as he does it, and he's leading war. Have Otto do something. I just wish, you have a guy seize him, and then him beat the shit out. Have a guy getting the shit beat out of him for him. I don't know, something. But he, for all that he's doing, and how important he is in all this, he just doesn't seem badass enough. And this is kind of a creepy strong problem I have too. It's like the guy's creepy, but he just doesn't have enough scary to him. Whereas you think of Bolton, Ramsay Bolton is the devil. Joffrey Baratheon, the devil. And everyone's just, no one's, turned up enough in this show, I don't think. Beside Daemon. I don't see anyone else who has this presence where you're like, oh, fuck.
Which, to the things that Daemon cares about, Daemon has, more respect for those people than anyone else in this show.
It has more honor than
to his brother, to Rhaenyra, even to his previous wife and his children. Like,
and maybe that's what it is. Maybe people just have these weird codes, even as fucked up as they are. It's just everyone has their own version of a code that conflicts in such a perfect way in Thrones.
Yeah. Oh, that was another thing from the news too. I heard the writer, one of the girls who writes the show. She mentions like she doesn't see why everyone really likes Daemon. Like, he does not make for a good partner, and it's like there's more than that. Like the scenes between him and Viserys, are big deals. And him with Rhaenyra, while it's creepy uncle vibes or whatever, this is the world in which we have like brother and sisters getting married, because they don't talk about that. Aegon and Helena are married, and they have 6-fingered children. Oh boy, the incest really going good.
They have 6-fingered children?
Yeah, even on the sigil in the opening, you'll see the 6.
Have they said that on the series yet?
No.
On the show?
No, but that was the first big hint, is that you saw their little sigil on there, and they had the 6 fingers, and you're like, because they're basically incest mutants.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, you don't see why Daemon's a good partner, huh? Because he stands up for his people? It's like, sure, he didn't like the Uggo from the mountains. It's because he was forced to marry that one.
Well, also, there's a difference between, like, good, long-term monogamous mate versus just someone that people are attracted to. That's two different things entirely.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think many people are going, like, he would be a good, steady partner. It's just, he's attractive because he has the qualities of the ultimate alpha male, like all those things. I don't know. Is that, or unless I'm misinterpreting what they're criticizing?
I don't know. I read that article the other day and was like, this is stupid. Let's continue.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Let's continue with our. Go ahead.
So at first they don't want Aemon to go, but Aemon's like, listen, I know how to find him. I know where he likes to go.
Yeah.
So they go to the whorehouses in the Street of Silk looking for Aegon.
And it's cool to put him in action if there was any action. But there's go ahead.
Yeah. God, Aemon's one of the better characters from the book.
I know, and it's like he's got the eye patch and he's got the hood on. He looks badass. He looks like a little fucked up Jedi Knight, little Sith in training, and nothing is happening in these streets.
He should have been one of the ones to get into the fucking sword fight.
You got the Knight and the Prince.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we didn't get anything cool like that. They just go and it's like, oh, yes, his tastes have grown different now. And then the whorehouse lady's like, oh, how have you grown? Because obviously she's the one who probably popped Aemon's cherry. But yeah. Yep, so back in the throne room, they have all the people who are there, at least at King's Landing, bend the knee to what's going to happen. And of course, there are 3 that are standing up. 2 straight up say no. It's like, I'm not doing it. And of course, one of them being House Fell, which they just kind of take them away and we just don't see them again. They're not hanging either. Now, the last guy is the one who, I forget his name, sorry, but he's the one who has always been there for Rhaenyra. Anytime Rhaenyra shows up, he's the one that greets her when no one else.
So he was the one who was like, I must confer first with my house on this matter. That was him?
Yes.
Okay.
And so he's always the one that's been there even when she was like walking through the castle after giving birth. And so he realizes what might happen, so he bends the knee, but obviously he has no intention to bend a knee. But Creepy Strong is up there looking at him, maybe his feet, I don't know, like so, gotta watch that one. He was so indecisive. Yeah, so
it extra annoyed me that's the place where we meet the Lannister brother and sister for the first time in Game of Thrones. Like, that's an important kind of spot in the throne room, and they're just besmirching it with this.
With this creepy creep, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So the knights escort them out. They all long live the king, and we're heading back to Fleet Bottom. We're trying to look for stuff. We got Eric and Eric trying to investigate. They end up in the Small Children Fighting League. Boy, Michael Vick would be proud.
Yeah, the kiddie fight ring.
Yeah, they grow out their claws, file their teeth.
This
they can
was
fight
cool.
the shit out of people.
This was very Game of Thrones.
Yeah. It's like the 10-year-olds, they fight. And
before that, real quick, there was just a really nice, again, camera work. I'll praise the show when I see it. Great bird's eye sweeping shot of what I guess is Flea Bottom. right? Because that's
Yeah.
where this fighting ring thing is. So
yeah.
we're assuming that's like the exterior of what we then see. Very ancient Rome. Those like the kind of Spanish tile roof type shit. Really nicely done production.
And so we also see the two Arics are talking about why they're even here. It's like, oh yes, Aegon comes here all the time because Eric is so displeased with how the prince behaves because he obviously bets in them. But he does more than that because he points over at one of the very Targaryen-looking children that are waiting. And it's like, Aegon's bastard? Is like, yeah, one of many. It's like he basically breeds his own fighters for the league and bets on them. I'm like, oh my gosh, what a fucking monster. Yep. So they're disgusted and they continue on. Aemon and Christian search the streets. They basically talk about, Aemon basically mentions how, he should probably be the one.
Yeah.
That's the heir.
'Tis I, the younger brother, who studies history and philosophy, rides the biggest dragon in the kingdom, and he's right.
One, he's also the one that's trained to be a sword fighter. Like, he doesn't do stupid things. But that's the curse of the second sons, man. You can try and be better all you want, but the first son's always going to get it. This happens. It's like, should they come looking for me, I should be found. It's like, unlike Aegon, it's out there running around doing nothing.
Yeah, he's actively avoiding the responsibility of the crown, Aegon. Yeah.
The two Ricks get approached by a spy for the White Worm, who
Pete and Pete of King's Landing is what I wrote before.
Pete and Pete of Westeros. So they're like, we know where Aegon is. I was like, okay, sure, whatever. Meanwhile, that lord that bent the knee, he's waiting at the gate to try to leave. Obviously, he's going to warn Prince.
He's like, no, I wasn't doing.
Oh no,
I always
you get down here. Yep, creepy strong.
It's a beautiful day. I'm just going for a ride outside the gates as quickly as possible.
It's like, where are you going in such a hurry? It's like, I didn't think he was in a hurry. He was just sitting there.
Yeah, I didn't.
He's like, I'm just ready to go back home. It's like, Jesus Christ, this is getting kind of creepy.
That was an annoying, like,
You'll
logistical.
suffer the king's justice.
Yeah, it was like an annoying logistical thing that apparently Creepy Strong has revealed to like have found out his true. Like, what exactly? What proof do you have against this guy? Even evidence, really?
He guessed. He's like, he was reluctant, so therefore.
But like you said, who would want to hang around after that? Like, business is done.
He would, because he ends up hanging around. King's justice.
Freeze frame of him hanging.
Yeah.
So Red Keep, again, the Lord was caught trying to flee, accused of leaving to notify the princess, right? That was the big kind of like no-no of why he would be leaving.
Big pro Rhaenyra.
Got it.
Yep.
But again, that's the only way news can leave. The way that news travels in the show makes no sense. Are there ravens? Are there not?
We've never seen one.
They're not. Like, how would you're covering this bullshit angle of / not good evidence or motive, whatever you want to call it, of a lord trying to leave a place to spread news where you're not covering the Raven situation, which we said even last episode, that was the first mention of them, but then there's no follow-up to it. We've never seen them. Like, how are they not covering just what they should have done? What Greyjoy does in that one episode is like kill all the ravens so that we can't communicate, so people can't send news.
Yeah.
And instead it's,
I'd assume that's one of the things that they did is lock down the aviary so that way people can't send messages.
There you go.
But they never even mentioned it. It's not even part of their plan. Everything else is so well thought of instead of lock down the aviary. Oh, okay. Whoops. Well, that's because we don't even use birds in this show anyhow. We have dragons. And we lock them down too.
Because we never see them either.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
All right, so, the queen stops by to see her husband's body being wrapped up like a mummy. They put his crown on his chest there. And then she goes to visit.
Wait, did we talk about the Creepy Strong and Otto meeting?
No.
So, Otto reports, Creepy Strong just reports. Really doesn't matter.
Basically, Otto's like, hey, you spend a lot of time with my daughter.
Right.
Kind of like, that's weird.
Yeah,
He's like, well, it doesn't mean that my time with her can't be to your benefit. And once we see what that means, I'm like, is he wanting to see Otto's feet?
Yeah. He's like, have you seen your daughter's ankles in a certain light?
It's like, oh, gets me going, gets my blood pumping.
And yours, father of the queen.
Yeah, so
I want to see the feet of the hand.
Rainey's is still at the Capitol, and she hears like the door lock. So she's like, "What the hell? I'm locked in here," and sees people like rushing out the window. And then eventually, the Queen comes to visit her, and that's where we get a lore break too. By the way,
Excellent.
you notice that at the dinner in the previous episode, Rainey's wasn't there. It's because Rainey's already left and went home. So it's very weird that they wanted to keep her around for this unusual scene.
Yeah.
It was just so they could make a talking scene. It's not like in regular Game of Thrones where like a budgetary constraint had cool talking scenes with characters who are present. It said, we need to make a scene happen. We need two women to talk. And it's like, you know when you got bad writing for women when the only thing they could talk about are guys instead of anything that's important. And that's basically the whole conversations. It's just like, we must
They actually explicitly say that, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, we must lead the men because we can't do it. But yet, Alicent tells her, it's like, yeah, you should have been queen, to try to butter her up. And it's like, how can you even believe that when you're saying, like, our best is to lead men with good temperament? And it's like you, and she was like, you just want to build a window for your prison. Like, that's all you want. And it's like, you can't just leave me here. It's like, well, we want to know where you side. It's like, if you want Driftmark, we'll give you Driftmark. Like, we'll give you whatever you want. It's like, we just want you to side with us. Your dragon's staying with us, though, to prevent Rhaenyra from attacking us. And I thought that was stupid. I was like, why would you having her dragon prevent Rhaenyra from attacking you? Like, that doesn't do it. You can't command the dragon. Only Rhaenys can command the dragon. So if Rhaenyra shows up and attacks, you're not using it as fodder. It's just going to be like, fuck you.
Yeah. It'll just fight either for itself or for Rhaenys, yeah.
And that's another reason why it's so weird. I'm like, she's gone in the book for obvious reasons.
Rhaenys is gone.
Yeah, and Arik, the one who's disenfranchised with Aegon, he sneaks in.
Not to be confused with Eric. Arik, yes.
Which is not disenfranchised.
Get it straight,
He's still
guys.
kind of like with Otto.
Yeah.
Eric steals Viserys' crown and goes and takes it to Rhaenyra. Because if you notice, when they're getting ready for Aegon, they take out Aegon the Conqueror's crown. Now that's the crown they use constantly. They don't mention this except in the books. So that crown, it's the silver crown. It's used all the way up until Jaehaerys, who we saw in the first episode. He makes a new crown. He makes a new crown for himself, which is what Viserys uses. The reason why they do this is because the previous king, which is Maegor the Cruel, they wanted to...
Oh, Maegor came right before Jaehaerys?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they wanted to make sure that memory, they could put it away as much as they can to separate themselves from Maegor and everything he did. So they put that crown basically in storage, or like never to be used. So
then what's the crown that we see in Thrones?
That's just one that they made, because obviously Robert Baratheon is not going to want anything to do with the Targaryens. So they don't want any of their shit. They get rid of anything Targaryen, including the crowns, and make their own. So they do. Plus, it makes sense for him. He wanted it to be like more stag-like and more pointy.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's very stag-like. As we graphically hear one episode what a stag sounds like as you're brutally stabbing it. Unsuccessfully because you're too weak. Anyway.
Yeah.
So the queen visits the queen that never was. Yeah, so we just did that,
yeah,
right?
We went through that. So we're going to be back to the Knight and the Prince, and they went...
Whoa, sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
They went and got Otto to bring Otto. No, they didn't go get Otto. They're going to go... They're hiding...
Kristen and Eamon witnessed the meeting of Otto and the White Worm, Stephen.
Yes.
The White Worm.
I try to forget this scene so much.
My condolences on the passing of your king.
Oh, my goodness.
That sounded more Indian, but it doesn't matter because it's a terrible accent.
She's a much better character in the book. She's
Oh,
basically like
my God.
Varys, but in this, trash, garbage. Yeah, so Kristen and Eamon are kind of like sneakily watching them. So Otto actually got brought outside, which is so weird. Like, how long is it taking to find fucking Aegon, man? They went back all the way to the castle, got him, brought him all the way back here. It's like, I don't want to deal with another layer of this stinking onion. Are you the one in charge? And then he sees the person that it is, like, you're the white worm? Because he previously saw her and called her a whore, called her Damon's whore. You dumb fuck. So
you don't remember calling me a dumb whore?
He is safely tucked away. I could have killed him as easily as a wasp on a fruit.
Oh, that was the ultimate. Yeah, so Otto's like, where is the prince? And then she's like, he is safely tucked away. And then she's like, basically going like, look, like, he has been strung out and flea bottom. I've had an eye on him this whole time. When she goes, I could have killed him easily as a wasp on fruit. Dude, I was like, what did you just say?
Oh my gosh.
Why a wasp? Like writing, delivery, all of it. How about a fruit fly? How about a small, non-formidable fucking giant insect?
Plus
None of it makes any sense, dude.
Plus the whole agreement. Like, all right, what do you want for the king? Is like, I want you to end the kitty fights. No more 10 and under fighting. It's like, I want the real Roman fights. Real hulking men. They battle it out now.
Yeah, it's like all of a sudden she's connected to the kitty fights. That to me felt contrived.
They're trying to make her. They're trying to make her spy network be the good spy network because she's trying to say I'm for the people, which is what Varys was. Varys is for the people,
right?
And so she's like, the people
That's
are
a
the
good
ones
point.
who decide who has the crown or not. It's kind of like a threat, and he's like, don't forget that. And he's like, oh, I won't forget.
But Stephen, there is no power but what the people allow you to take.
Sure there is. I'm pretty sure if they come in here with a bunch of soldiers, you're gonna shut your mouth.
Yeah, what?
So, whoops. Yeah, so she's like, no more kitty fight. He's like, well, I will look into it.
Which,
It's like, okay, he is Aegon. I was like,
yeah, I mean, anyone who has ever been told, I'll look into it, don't believe that person ever. That means nothing.
and she should.
And she's dumb enough to be like, okay, right. Okay, here's
should've-
Aegon.
She should have had a backup plan. She should have literally had somebody go and inform Rhaenyra as well. But no, we're not going to get that because that would be smart. And we don't have smart spies in this, which you'll find out what happens to her in this episode. So Pete and Pete, or Rick and Rick, they hear coughing under the candle praying spots, and they drag out Aegon. He was like inside the stone structure. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? God,
You're hiding in a church and crying. That's like the quietest place. That's like going into a library and be like, I hope no one finds me. It's like, dude, it's the easiest thing to ever find.
So they get him, and they're rushing out. But then Sir Christian and Aemon are like, you give us the air. And so a sword fight starts. But Eric stays away, and he's like, yeah, I'm not part of this. You got it, boys. And so Aegon's left with Aemon.
Dude, this
while
sword
Christian
fight-
Cole is fighting Eric in the background very poorly. That was a real crap sword fight.
Oh, there's a shot of Kristen running down one set of stairs, and then the stairs to the right, Eric's running down. And they are running at the exact same speed, the exact same angle and symmetry. It was a Broadway. It looked like a scene out of Princess Bride. I'm like, what am I looking at? This is it was such like lazy high fantasy bullshit.
Yeah, they should have literally had Aemon fight him. I'm just saying. Like,
That too. He did nothing. All he did was like bounce his brother.
I have no wish to rule. Fine by me. Sail away and never be found.
Yeah, which was I didn't mind any of that. That was fine. It's just he didn't do anything beside hold his brother down. Action wise, nothing happened with Aemon. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah. And then so while they're battling for the air,
Especially it was 2-on-2, literally. It was Eric, right? It was the two
Eric
Erics.
Eric dips. He's gone.
Oh yeah, and so why did the other Eric dip? I didn't understand
Because
that.
he doesn't care what happens to Aegon. He actually hopes Aegon dies.
Oh, right,
So
'cause
when
then
saw
he
that
later
there was
on-
a fight, he's
right.
like, nope, gone. So
Got
he
it.
takes that time. We'll skip ahead a little bit. He takes that time to go and actually bust Rhaenys
That's right.
out of her imprisonment.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. While Eric is battling Sir Christian, which they eventually just stop. They're kind of like, bro, stop. I'm
Yeah.
like, I guess that would have been a perfect moment for them to be reluctant to harm one another, and then fucking Eamon just murders Eric.
Yeah, stab him right in his fuck. Yeah.
Yeah. But they should kind of show how ruthless he is, but we don't get that. So Allison goes and yells at Otto, "This isn't a game, yet you play it so well." I was like, because she has the air.
I almost just canceled the podcast and turned off my HBO Max when he says that line. I was like, this is absolute trash. Dialogue, at least.
Yeah. It degrades to a point of being like, I made you the queen. It's like, I positioned you. I moved you as a piece. It's like, yeah, you only kept moving me as a piece of the board. It's like, yeah, that's what I do. And then he tries to say, like,
If that's true, I have made you queen of the 7 kingdoms.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Is like, oh, yeah, by the way, you remind me so much of your mother sometimes in the light. And I'm like, are you trying to say because mom's dead or what?
Yeah, that made no sense either. Yeah.
Like, God damn. It's like, are you getting a little ancestral right now?
Right. I thought that for a second, too. I'm like, are you turned on by how badass she's being? I'm like, what?
I have Aegon now, and this is how it's going to be. My husband never wanted his daughter to be killed. And I was like, Aegon will take the crown at dawn tomorrow. Let the glory of House Targaryen reign. That was a cool line. Let the glory of House Targaryen reign.
That felt very Thrones. That felt very medieval.
Yeah, because Otto doesn't see it that way. He wants a high tower to be there. He's like, I don't care about the Targaryens.
Yeah, and it was dope that she finally took charge in the middle of that. She was like, he's like, I understand your squeamishness to sex. She's like, look, no, we're done here. And she also said, too, she's like, mercy is not weakness or something like that.
It's like, I'm going to petition to Rhaenyra to give up the crown and see if that works. Which, neither of these things are going to work. They talk about
that's where her naivete definitely is.
That's also the dumbest thing, too. They talk about how they're going to show up on Dragonstone and try to kill Rhaenyra.
And
that
Daemon?
Fucking ain't happening, bro. That's not going to happen. And neither is sending her a letter to be like, you don't get to be queen anymore. Be okay with it. Yeah, no.
Yeah, when Otto gives that order in the King's Council meeting, when the Lord Commander walks out, he's like, be quick and be clean. I'm like, it's not quick and clean to invade Dragonstone. It's called Dragonstone.
It is a castle, and you're not just getting in there. They have their own guards that are meant to protect the heir apparent. So, and Daemon is roaming around. That dude never, likes to sleep, it seems like. He is up at night, roaming around, doing something. So, motherfucker sees a boat show up with some knights. He's going to come and say hello. And some people are going to be dead. It ain't going to be Daemon.
And they also don't plan, when he says quick and clean, too, take your knights. It's like, no, he would have, the only way to invade Dragonstone is with a dragon, at least one. And he should have, what's it called? Coordinated with, fucking names. Aemond.
To send Vhagar,
yeah, to send Vhagar. And it's like, that's the only way to invade at least one dragon. Otherwise, this is the dumbest plan I've ever heard in my life. Anyway.
Yeah. It's real dumb.
The hour is late, Lord Laris.
Oh, God. So Creepy Strong shows
Here
up
we
to the
go.
Slave's chamber to basically hear all about her stuff. For him being a spy master, he doesn't ever have much information to give. He's just kind of like the doer. Basically, they get a lot of fruit metaphors and bug metaphors.
Allison,
not important.
she pours her after-work wine drink.
Yeah, and then now we get why she was taking her shoes off, because, he's an OnlyFans simp, the first of Westeros. He wants to see them feet. He makes her put them up on the table so he can, look at those feet. I want to butter those feet.
What's your monthly rate?
Oh,
my queen.
Goodness. It's like, I give you secrets, you give me feet pics. And then, then she takes off her socks. It's like, one of the little spiders is your lady in waiting, which is Helena. And it's like, and there are more like her. This one will destroy your advantage. And so Alicent's like, I assume you'll do the thing, get rid of him? if you wish, it will be done, but you must put your feet on the couch while I masturbate. And he straight just starts going at it, man. He's like, oh, those feet. Turn them to the side. I want to see them not club-footed. Yeah.
I was thinking that too. I'm like, it's got to be connected to his own club foot. He's like, oh, perfect feet.
Perfect.
Function, not even. It's just functional feet.
Functional feet.
2 feet that are symmetrical.
The queen's feet.
The symmetry of regal feet.
Oh
And
my
just
God.
this dialogue too. This whole, there's a web of spies. Your father knows of this. You must feed the weaver. Shut up.
Dreamweaver. But
I believe.
I forgot. There's another important thing too. We didn't.
She
even
will
have
be
it on the
mine.
list.
Oh yes.
When it's funny how creepy strong used the queen as his OnlyFans simp.
Yeah.
But
Uh-huh.
Sir Christian,
Watch the table there.
we get a better view of his version of the queen. Like I thought maybe he was kind of like simping for her too,
Mm-hmm.
but no, he sees her as mommy because you notice when they went to the whorehouse. Eamon's explained how he got there. He's like, yes, he told me we needed to go to where we could get things wet. And he's like, oh, women are a vision of the mother. And so that's why he's like constantly defending the queen. Like he literally sees the queen as mommy. Mommy, save me. Mommy, you saved me from my suicide.
Good point.
Yeah.
So when I just want to be clear of this whole scene, he's saying your father knows about it, so they're plotting against Otto now, right?
They're planning to get things done. Like they're still planning to work together. But no, that part is actually against the White Worm.
But
Because you see the building on fire, that's
Right.
the White Worm's building. He goes and destroys the whole other spy network and kills Miss Accent.
when does that happen?
That happens in the episode. You see it burning. After she says, I assume you can get it done,
Right.
he goes and he lights another building on fire. That's his favorite. Is to go lock people in buildings and torture them.
Huh. Oh, I must have in my rewatch, in my walkthrough, I must have skipped that.
Yeah.
I was probably so enthused with this episode that I didn't even. All right, so
Yeah, it's
explain.
it's not about Otto at all. Yeah, it's
And we
about-
see bad
the
accent
counter
lady burn.
You see her house burn, assuming she is in there. And Game of Thrones style, if we don't see them die, they're not dead. But who knows? Maybe she's finally gone.
I mean, Jesus, I didn't even.
But that's what he was talking about.
Whatever.
That because that's the spy network that Otto uses.
Got it. Okay.
I'm gonna take them out.
Oh yeah, because he's like take them out at the head. But when he says take them out at the head, that's what made me assume. Oh, so that means White Worm head.
Yes.
She's the head of it.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
He wasn't. They weren't
Not
gonna kill
Otto.
Otto. She would never like wish for her dad to die.
Yeah. Well, but I don't know. They didn't really make that clear. I think.
Yeah.
Um.
So yeah, Arik busts out Rainey's. They're sneaking around in hooded cloaks. He takes her down past Baylor and through the underground section where you see the big dragon skull. And she kind of looks up at it and gets the idea. He's like, I got to get to my dragon. I was like, there's no way we'll get there. So he's like, here you go. This is the Beta Blackwater. You can take the boat and get out of here.
So can this be our? No, not yet. Go ahead.
So now we proceed to the coronation because we have Aegon. She's hyping up Aegon the whole time, gives him Viserys' dagger. It's like, he wanted this for you. He's like, Father never liked me. He's like, he didn't like me or believe in me. He's like, no, he wanted this. He loved you. So now he feels like actual justice.
Believe me, he very, very vaguely told me while he was dying.
He said Aegon wasn't specific on the number, was hie,
Yeah.
milk of the poppy. But yeah, it was like, basically, don't listen to Otto, listen to me. We're going to try to get this thing done right. So as Rhaenys is trying to get away, obviously when she comes back in, she gets caught in the crowd and ends up near the coronation at the Grand
Giant cathedral. I thought this was pretty good.
Yeah.
Production design too, good CG of this place.
This is one
I mean,
that's
it's just
not in
like-
Game of Thrones.
It's not in Game of Thrones.
No, not this one.
Right,
because
yeah,
they
were-
build the other one later on. So that's with like the 7-point star and stuff. This is the original one, and it's basically above the dragon pit, which is important.
And it's essentially a domed Coliseum-sized place. I mean, this is clearly like if this fits everyone in King's Landing.
Yeah, it's what it seems like.
Yeah.
So Otto tells all the people, Viserys the peaceful is dead. And it's like, but we shall crown a new king. He wanted, in his death, the last thing he said is he wanted his son Aegon to rule. So basically, bullshit. Yeah, soldiers do their little thing. They play the trumpets.
It's like,
Yep.
shut up.
Aegon walks to the swords as they bring him down. Then shots of Rhaenys watching through the coronation. Rhaenys then escapes the cathedral. Kristen Cole crowns the new king with Aegon the Conqueror's crown, who was last worn by Maegor the Cruel, which is important because Aegon is very much like Maegor. The crowd cheers for Aegon. Music swells. And then the floor erupts. Yes. It's like fucking blocks get thrown everywhere. People are thrown. So now we have the dragon for this show with the highest kill count on screen.
So
Maegor,
3, 2, 1. Dragon count.
Dragon count 1. We see Melees, which is the queen that never was.
Oh, that was
Dragon.
a really fast dragon count, kids. Good night.
Yeah. It bursts out of the ground, whips its tail around, just smacking everyone. Then I don't know what the fuck the Kingsguard are thinking. They're like, shut the door. They start
what was
shutting
that?
the door with the royal family. It's like, you what dumb fucks. And
Otto keeps yelling, shut the door, right? Or open?
Otto's shouting, open the door.
Oh, open, right, okay.
So the dragon will leave. It's
Yeah,
like,
dude.
Oh, God. Yeah, Rhaenys approach is full on. The dragon just roars right in their fucking faces, and she's just looking very displeased. Alicent steps right in front of Aegon and kind of like shields him. Like that.
And she's wearing her full dragon riding suit and everything.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
dope.
And Alicent's like, I'm gonna protect my son. I was like, yeah, from Dragonfire? No, you're not. Good joke. Aemon kind of stares up like he doesn't give a fuck, and it's like, you will when you're lit on fire, bro.
Yeah, dude.
And even Sir Kristen Cole like, dragon, where's the CG dragon at? I don't see him. Yeah, a lot of people's reactions are not very legitimate.
Yeah,
dude. No matter how ballsy you think you are, you're not on a dragon, nor are you wielding a weapon able to attempt the dragon, nor do you have a dude with a big stick to slap the dragon. As we see in this show, the only thing the dragon fears more is a big ass wooden stick. No one's got any of that stuff, and it's right there in front of your face with an angry lady riding on top that has every right to light you on fire. No one should be balls up ready to go. They should be pissing their pants, and they're not, except for Alicent and Aegon, but Aegon's a little bitch, so...
they say even when like it's a very common reaction. They'll tell you if you go on like a jungle tour or some kind of like safari thing, it's really common if a tiger in particular comes close to you to just shit yourself. Like people commonly just evacuate without, it's just an involuntary reaction of seeing this gigantic beast that will swat you to death. I mean, a dragon in your face, like there would have half that royal family has poop in their underwear. They should, but yeah, you're right. There, half of them are standing there like,
Director, where's the CG dragon at? It's right in front of you. Is it? Or it's like, it's a dragon, dude. It's fucking big.
And then there's
yeah. So
I feel the same way.
I know the directors and stuff were trying to say like, oh, it's Rhaenys didn't light him on fire because this isn't her fight. They're like, that's what they said. They're like, it's not her fight, and she respects Alicent as a mother for defending her son. And it's like bullshit.
It's absolutely her fight.
If you're gonna actually change something from the book and have her there when she's not there, and then have this big dragon erupting scene, it's like that. That to me is super problematic. It's like the Obi-Wan thing with Obi-Wan beating Vader and then letting him live the second time. And I'm
the second time.
You're now responsible for everything that happens here on out. And it's like, you are responsible for not ending the war because you know what they're doing. They just coronated Aegon. You know what they're going to do to Rhaenyra. You can't even try to say this isn't your fight.
Yeah.
Because they're going to go after not only Rhaenyra's children, but Daemon's children. And Daemon's children are your grandchildren. They're not even like is it possible that that's your grandchildren? No, those are Valyrian girls. So guess what? Those are your heirs for Driftmark. It's like you're in the fight. It's like you're staring them down. Either like threaten them or something. Fucking grab Aegon and dip with them. I don't care what you do at this point, but like... you don't do a scene like that and then just have her fucking leave. It's like she can end the war right
there.
Right.
She could have torched
then.
the entire opposing family,
all
or at
the-
least just how about eat one of them? Just eat one, or just torch one, barbecue one, do something.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it would have just been over. And she lights on fire 6 people because they're the only ones dumb enough to not run when a dragon bursts out of the ground. Dumb fucks. But how do you explain that? How do you go to Rhaenyra and explain, I could have killed them all and they took your crown, but I didn't. And now all the deaths that will happen, by the way, that are going to happen for Rhaenyra's side, whose fault is that? Whose fault is it going to be that the kingdom is going to be in civil war and everything that's happening? They shouldn't have done the scene.
Yeah, they just didn't need it, yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't put her in a position that she would have taken advantage.
I was like, that's not good writing.
Yeah.
It's not cute. And it doesn't serve the story well to, we just want big CG dragon, do CG dragon stuff. It's like, then you should have just did that because the whole show is about
have her escape. Like maybe even bust the floor up in the building, but then just have her leave. Don't have an opportunity for her to end the war and not end the war, yeah.
Yeah, it's so dumb. That's a whole problem too, is like if she even bursts free at the dragon, she has the opportunity to end the war.
That's true. So
she's the only one who's on a dragon right
now.
now.
Yeah, because then you can bust through anything.
Oh yeah, then just juggernaut through the wall, light everyone on fire, and her dragon is an older, experienced dragon, so like it's not like them taking some of those younger dragons. Vhagar is the only one that would give her a run for her money, but Vhagar needs a wide berth to get into the air, and he's slow. She's slow. So Melees could probably still take Vhagar, technically. But hey, these are questions that we should have been asking during season 1 when the dragons were probably going to be fighting one another. But hey, we'll have to wait until next week and next season probably. 'Cause I think we're only going to get one. It's probably just going to be Jacaerys' dragon versus Vhagar. And unfortunately in the book and in probably the show, it ain't going to go well for one of them. One of them's got a kite versus a B-52 bomber, so enjoy that.
Steven, before you open real quick, you answer your half of this and then I'll take over and then you can open. So we had a comment from My Motives Aren't Loco on Instagram. Again, at House of the Dragon Pod. Bets on Laris helping with the Herald problem, who again is the Lord Commander of Kingsguard.
I mean, I don't know. Harold should have already died, but I think he's going to be the one to go and take Viserys' crown and then bring it to Rhaenyra, and he's going to be like a Sir Barristan. So, I mean, if he gets killed, it'll probably be killed by Sir Criston or something, unless they, whatever reason, have him kill Sir Criston. I have no idea. They're off the rails and the books at this point.
We did already kind of cover this too. So, all right, cool.
No idea.
Feel free to open if you'd like.
Bye, guys.
Thank you as always, Sir Stephen.
Yes.
So we ran a little close to opening here, but speaking of which, we are opening Davinci Dreamworks 2 comic shop. We got comics, we got games, located in sunny Jensen Beach, Florida. If you're in the area, definitely stop in. At Davinci's Dreamworks 2 on Instagram and Facebook. Once again, at House of the Dragon Pod or on Instagram. Please subscribe. Audio, we are at on Spotify, and then youtube.com/Above and Batman Beyond on YouTube. So once again, I have been Sir Benjamin, and on behalf of Sir Stephen, thank you for joining us in entering House of the Dragon.